So front row, Victor Martin on pole position, the French racer, Brazilian Caio Collet alongside. Row number 2, formed by Petr Petacek and David Vidales. Again, a real mixture of teams, but with Race GP getting cars on second and third on the grid, they're looking pretty happy indeed. Row number 3 is the top rookie driver, Adrien David, and Amaury Cordial alongside. So French racer for MP Motorsport and Amaury from Belgium for FA Racing. Grégoire Saucy from Switzerland and Paul Aron from Estonia fill row number 4. Track conditions dry for all the drivers around there. Up from Argentino, Franco Colapinto and Alex Quinn, British racer, share row number 5. Alex Quinn, one of a number of rookies in this field. Then Lorenzo Colombo from Italy for Bitec and Ugo de Wilde from Belgium for Arden form row number 6. 9 rows in all. The one Dutch racer in the field, Tien van der Helm and Richard de Geroux from France. They are on row number 7. Row number 8, Roman Stanek stepping up to join MP Motorsport this weekend. He's from Czech Republic, he's 15th. And Nicola Marinangeli, Italian racer for Bitec. And the final row of the grid will be Laszlo Toff and a driver who brought out the flags for crashing in that first session, William Alatalo, but he was good enough to be around the top 10 at the point he put the car off into the tyre wall. So look out for him. He in his fixed car number 38, ought to be making progress up through the field. But running close to someone and getting past someone is very much a different thing. But right now, let's see if Zandvoort, with its new bank corners, can throw up some overtaking potential. I sort of feel it can. And just for the records, this race will be 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Don't get caught by the trap of thinking it's just immediately, you stop it immediately after the first car crosses the line. After 30 minutes of a lap, there's 1 further lap. So commentators, team chiefs, read the rule book. Track conditions comfortable, air temperature comfortable, controls looking good. Last of the 18 cars coming into position. That's the one at the back of the field. That's William Alatalo for JD Motorsport. JD Motorsport interest up the front end in 4th place on the grid, but it's ART Grand Prix. Victor Martin, car number 92 on the outside the front row. We've got some waved arms in about 6th position. I think that could be Amaury Cordial for FA Racing, or is it the car behind? It might be the car behind. In fact, I think 6th and 8th waving their hands. Waved yellow flags at the side of the track. Are they going to abort the start? We've got 1, if not 2 cars. The drivers have stalled their engines. They're on the grandstand side. Yes, start aborted. Going around a 1 further formation there, but so yes, the 6th car in the line. I thought the car behind had also stalled, but no, it's just Amaury Cordial who will therefore, provided he gets underway, have to start from the tail of the grid. Car number 17. Oh, sorry, of course that's 5th place, not 6th place. That's Adrien David. Sorry, I'm thrown. I'm always thinking of the pit wall side being the pole side. But that's Adrien David for MP Motorsport. So the local team, that was their best placed car. They'll be frustrated with that. Rats. So round they go. Drivers never really mind having a second formation lap, just to sort of put in their mind exactly what it was. This is your first view of the new banking at Hugenholzbach, turn number 3. Absolutely fantastic. And when the track is wet, you see drivers trying all sorts of lines. Quick in, slow out, but really what you want at Hugenholzbach is slow in and quick out. There's a long run up over the rise, point of the track we're looking at now, shaved out. You'll still be carrying any extra momentum you build at the Hugenholzbach. So unfortunate there for Adrien David. He was the 2nd place rookie runner on the grid. He was 5th. David Vidales, the Spanish racer, in 4th. But the arms are waved, the marshals spotted it, the start was aborted. So hopefully when the field comes around, everyone will make a clean start at the 2nd time of asking. But good work by the marshals, immediately identified the problem and put out their warning flags. So for everyone else, this extra sighting lap. And unfortunately for car number 17, it didn't get to follow them round. So Adrien David, frustration for him. So pushed into the pit lane. Maybe he's going to be allowed to start from pit exit if they can get that fired up. But Everyone else, there is a gap on the grid. It certainly makes it easier for the car immediately in behind, which would be Franco Collet, the Argentinian racer. So the waved yellow flags indicating that drivers need to slow down and take their grid positions. And again, if you look at the banking, this is the exit of the banking at that final corner, and then there's a crest and then a dip onto the start-finish straight, pretty much at the just where the last of those cars are seen under the CM.com. That's the new naming partner of the circuit, under their gantry. And then once you're back on the level, to accelerate past the grandstand and then on down towards the first corner, towards Tarzan. See that big gap from that low angle. Hadrian David should be in 5th place. He is not. He's in the pit lane. I can't tell if he's going to start from there or if it's over and out. But for our front row, Victor Martin, he's on the grandstand side. Caio Collet, his Brazilian Championship challenger, #1 on the pit wall side. It's a green flag waved at the back. The starting lights are on. They're almost off. There are the 5 red lights on, waiting for them to flip to green. Looks like a tidy start from pole position, a pretty good start from 2nd place, but there was no knots from Victor Martin. Straight across, see if he can hold him off. Will Caio Collet challenge around the outside, maybe pass by the exit of the corner, because in 3rd place, looks like a tidy start from Petro Potacek, but our poleman, well, he absolutely cemented that pole position by a small margin, but made no error at the start. He left no room for error, going right across the nose of Caio Collet. A little bit busy round further back, and the car pushed up on the curbs. It's probably not going to get much momentum onto the wonderful rising, twisting section of track, but very, very busy down in the midfield. I sense there was a bit of contact, but it was tyre to tyre, so no damage done there. Full side on, that's fair. First 2 already starting to estate. Petro Potacek is trying to try and hold on to them, but the front row positions are kept. Victor Martin ahead of Caio Collet. Yes, it's around the sort of 8th, 10th place mark where I think the contact was effected. Trying to make a little challenge down around the middle order car. 71, Amaury Cordial, I don't think made the best of starts. He's dropped back a few positions. Car number 12 starting to make some moves. That's Roman Stanek for MP Motorsport. Place gain for the Czech. And very nearly lost. 21 gets it back all over again. So that was very busy indeed. But Richard de Guerus claimed what he had lost. He claimed it straight back. Onto the banked corner for the first time in this race. They've had the 2 formation laps for Victor Martin stretching his legs. I reckon at the start-finish line, let's have a little look. He's about 1/3 of a second to the good, 0.489 of a second. Let's call that half a second between friends. Caio Collet in 2nd place, David Vidales 3rd, Petro Potacek lost out to Vidales, he's back in 4th, and Amaury Cordial 5th, Franco Collet in 6th, and Hadrian David will be at the very back if he got going at all from the pits. Still busy. People certainly are looking for position, and what we hadn't seen in some of the other races is overtaking around the outside at Hugenholz box. So 2x2 gets 2 thumbs up from me. That's an exciting place to be watching racing. You never know. You can change a track, but it's only when you get the cars out there, the drivers out there, who are prepared to see if they can make it 2x2 round a corner, that you really know. Of course, harder in the bigger GT cars. They're much wider, but these small, nimble Formula Renault single-seaters, they can make space where space isn't necessarily there in the first place. We've just seen that happening down in that battle for about 6th place, and the driver making the moves is Paul Aron, the Estonian. So he's just gained a place. He's passed Alex Quinn. The battle for 2nd place in the rookie class. The leader in that is 3rd overall. That's David Vidales, car number 32. Down in the middle order, it's very, very busy indeed. And now Paul Aron being pushed very hard indeed. He's got Lorenzo Colombo, the black and white Bitec racing car. Et al. Kicking up the dust on the exit of Kumo. Oh, sorry, the exit of Hans-Ernst-Bock. Then into Kumo they go. And up into the banking. This wonderful banking. The Ari Lowendyke curve, slingshotting the cars. It should be flat through there, but if you get better flat, because you were flat sooner, that's when you get the advantage onto the start-finish straight, and then, and only then, can you really take a move down into Tarzan. Sharp intake of breath. There's locking of tyres in the background, and a move was made, a change of position. The blue and white flash car making its way up 1 position. It takes 2 to tango at that first corner, though, so maximum respect for the driver, who had to realise he was being passed and ceded position. Leading the race, best part of a second to the good, Victor Martin. Yellow flash car, Caio Collet in 2nd place, 1.6 seconds further back to David Vidales, who's just got 1/3 of a second over Petro Potacek. David Vidales, top rookie, 3rd overall, really, really good run from him. And let's go down the order. Amaury Cordial in 5th, Colapinto 6th, Paul Aron, who we saw made the move on Alex Quinn, up into 7th, Gregoire Saucy, and completing the top 10, Lorenzo Colombo. Bit by bit, lap by lap, Victor Martin pulling clear. Just a whisker under a second on the start-finish line. Caio Collet trying to hang on. He's got a nice, tidy advantage over the third-place battle, but David Vidales in third has suddenly got Petacek and Amaury Cordial getting closer and closer, and then the line behind. The further back you go, the gaps seem to become smaller and smaller in this train of Formula Renault Eurocup chasers and racers. Right, first to second, we've got 4 laps on the board. 1.3 seconds now to the good. Caio Collet still in second place. He has no answers to the questions being asked at the moment by Victor Martin. But it's a 30-minute race. Who's looking after their tyres? Not the driver of car number 27. He's starting to take chunks out of his by braking very late. That's Hugo de Wilde, the Belgian racer, but held that position. Unfortunately for him, that's not in the top 10. It's 11th place, right in behind now, really starting to push. Roman Stanek in behind him in turn 73. Tiemann van der Helm, the only Dutch racer here this afternoon, in that blue and orange, suitably Dutch colours on his car. Looks great standing still. He'd like it to look further up the order. Van der Helm down in 15th of the 18 runners. Well, we're going to go down and hear from the team manager of the team that's leading ART Grand Prix down in the pits with Gemma.
Mathieu Zangarelli, you're obviously looking after our front pole sitter at the moment, pole sitter, and leading the race. You know, it's a fantastic season so far, and a really strong performance from the car as well.
Yes, we try to do our best in this series. This is the first year for ART in the Eurocup. For sure, we have, I think, quite a good potential with the 3 drivers. Of course, Victor is leading at the moment, but the 2 other drivers do a good job also. So, yeah, they are fighting on track. We are really focused on that, but we will continue to push until the end of the season for sure.
And the battle between Victor and David and Caio has been fantastic all season.
Yeah, it's a good competition for sure, but I hope we will win.
Thank you very much.
Good to hear from the boss of HRT's Eurocup Formula Renault team. But just to point out, Victor Martin came back hoping, having fallen short in the championship title battle last year by a small margin. The opening round wasn't supposed to include a 10th place, but since then, second, next meeting at Imola, 4th and 4th, still not quite right, but the last 2 meetings have yielded 2 wins, both wins at the Nürburgring, and then a 3rd and a 1st, and yet more poles at the subsequent meeting at Magny-Cours. Here at Zandvoort, he started from pole, he's leading the race. The gap is 1.5 seconds now to the good over Caio Collet. They're 3 seconds back to David Vidales, so they're comfortably ahead of him, and then he's got Petacek 1.2 seconds back, falling back a little bit. In fact, the person who's going to make the next move, I think, is going to be Amaury Cordial. He's 5th at the moment, the Swiss racer, and getting closer and closer to the tail of Petacek, so gaining all the time. Amaury Cordial, the Belgian racer. Gregoire Saucy is the Swiss racer. He's down in 9th. Crossed wires there. Victor Martin is making this look easy, not hanging the tail out too much. You want to keep these cars as smooth as possible. Tidy over the curve. You see a lot of the drivers in our shot now running a little bit wide on the exit of the Hans-Ernst-Bocht, but what you want to do is get the next corner right. This corner, this is the Kumo-Bocht, the penultimate corner of the lap, because this feeds in. You should be carrying momentum as much as you can out of this corner, onto the banking, the high banking, the steep banking at the Arie Luijendijk-Bocht, and then you can gain maybe 1 kilometre an hour down the start-finish straight. If you're right under someone's rear wing, then possibly you can make that move stick. And just there seeing William Alatallo for JD Motorsport trying his hardest to get around Hugo de Wilde, but de Wilde in car 27 blocked it off. William Alatallo was the driver who took a tumble, put his car into the tyre wall at the Gerlach-Bocht, didn't quite get to the corner they're going through now, and that's his car number 38, started down in 18th place. The fact he's moved his way up to 12 suggests more is to come. He's a 1/5 of a second down on de Wilde. De Wilde is now being hunted down big time, down into the drop through that fantastic, still the key corner on the circuit to me, Schäflach. And it all tightens up a bit. Masters, then down into Bocht 9 or turn 9, turn 10, and then that short infield straight. But if you can really get that tidy, strong exit from the Hugenholzbocht turn 3, you can carry that advantage for a very, very long way. as you try to hunt down. Let's take a look at the replay of the start. That was the second attempt at the start because, of course, we lost one of the cars, Adrian David, who had to be pushed into the pit lane because he'd stalled, but that was all fine. But the second time of asking, Victor Martins right across the nose of Caio Collet, say, look, I'm in pole, I'm also leading this race. And in behind, very, very tidy. So these young racers learning well not to take too many risks through the opening corner, particularly as it's a double apex corner here at Tarzan, and get one bit right, you're not guaranteed to get the next bit, so you've got to be right on it. Some wide lines, a little bit of contact for sort of 6th place on the outside at Hugenholzbach. You can't have both runners running wide. They were side by side, bit of bodily contact, but nothing untoward. So with 6 laps on the board, the gap is 1.777 seconds between Victor Martin and his championship rival, just 2 points behind at the start of this race, Caio Collet. And some of the tighter racing is in behind. William Alatalo, the blue and white car, still chasing after Hugo de Wilde. You feel it is really just a matter of when he makes that move. Not going to make it through the Slottermacher box. We have seen some passing into this corner, into Chevlach, but I don't think that's particularly wise in single-seaters. Battle for 11th place it might be, but it's absolutely fearsome. Hugo de Wilde doing a really, really good, tidy job, trying to cover any of the options. And what we're starting to see from William Alatalo, he's looking one way, looking another, the Finnish racer. He's just trying to unsettle Hugo de Wilde, and on the other hand, just trying to experiment with lines to see which one may work for him. And the good news for de Wilde, he's not actually that close to the car in front. He's 1.1 seconds back to Grégoire Saucy. You can see Saucy just going out of shot. ART, it's the 3rd place of the ART runners. We heard from the T-Boss, they're running in the lead. That's Victor Martin. 7th place, which is Paul Aron. And then the last of their cars in 10th place, Grégoire Saucy. Another lap going on the board. There's David Vidales, followed by Petro Petacek, and in behind Amaury Cordeel. I thought this place might have changed for 4th place. Amaury chasing down in number 71. Let's take a look. He'd been able to get onto the tail of Petro Petacek. Down into the Hugenholzbach. He's taking a slightly different line. I'd actually sense that the car in front made a better stab at that. That's Petro Petacek. The gap has been coming down in favour of Amaury Cordeel. The clock is counting down. We're very nearly at the halfway point in this half-hour plus 1 lap. It's not just a half-hour race. You get a bonus lap thrown in at the end. But well, let's just pop down. We've heard from the boss of the leading car. Now let's go down to hear the boss of Race GP, who are running the car in 2nd, of Caio Collet.
T-Bolt currently lying in 2nd position. Caio's always puts on a strong performance and very much fighting there.
Yeah, you asked me. Okay. Yeah, Caio is actually P2. We're trying to keep the pressure on Martin, on Victor, because we know on this track it's really difficult to overtake, but we try to keep the pressure and to see if he can push him to do a mistake and get the opportunity to pass, but it's going to be difficult, I believe.
Pushing him into a fairly controlling drive, as in controlling the drive in front of him.
Yeah, anyway, we need to take not take too much risk, because we are fighting against Victor for the championship. So anyway, P2 is a good position to score good points.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done. It's good to hear from the team managers at this moment. There's nothing more they can do. There are no pit stops planned for this race. They're just relying on their drivers. But also, you can just sense what we're hearing there. How much risk you take. You're 2nd. Just take the points for that. Don't take too many risks. But at the moment, there's no answers for the question, because Victor Martin is starting to stretch his legs. Last time it was 1.9 seconds to good. Now it's 2.3, going out to 2.4 seconds, a little bit further around the lap. So the advantage going all along, going the way of the driver leading the race, the Frenchman who has been so impressive last year and this. Last year he was 2nd in the championship, but took 6 wins along the way, so just was not hanging around. A couple of Arden cars running together. Sorry, Arden car is Hugo de Wilde. Sorry, that's car 27. He's got William Alatalo in and around him, and a little bit further back we've got Richard de Guerus also racing in the red and white livery of Arden, made famous over the years. Car 21, that is Richard de Guerus, young French racer. '17-year-old, and he took 4 wins in French Formula 4 last year, so he's gone up the power band, gone up the technology range. As seems to have settled in very well indeed. As I say, that Reshad gets the tail out on the exit of the second part of the Hans box and maybe pushing a little bit too hard. Had to come off the power when he was trying to put it on. Car went sideways, which you don't want in the single-seater. So he'll learn from that little error, because he was catching up with the car in front of him, which was William Alatalo, but now has fallen away. Yep, Alatalo still in that 11th place. Points go down to 10th, so Gregoire Saucy, car 93, is the last of the point scorers at the moment. But the big haul of points, 25 points for race win, looks at the moment, as we go just past the halfway stage in this race, to be going to Victor Martin's car 92, entered by ART Grand Prix. Caio Collet now 2.4 seconds behind, and with every lap it's losing a tenth of a second here or there. So the main move in the last lap was William Alatalo going up a place into 11th overall. That is why the Arden cars, Amugo de Wilde and Reshad de Garous, are running line astern from each other. So 38 has made a rare overtaking manoeuvre. He was the one who started last, having crashed in qualifying. I expected him to pick his way up the order, but he's been patient. He's now up into 11th place, one place further up the track, and he may score a point, but he's got to find 2 and a bit seconds if he wants to catch and overhaul Gregoire Saucy. Caio Collet still in second place, still falling away little by little. It was 2.4 seconds last lap. It's 2.2 seconds. He's not falling away, he's coming back. In fact, he just put in the fastest final sector of anyone, but still around 2 seconds down on the race leader, but comfortably nearly 7 seconds clear of David Vidales in third place. Oh, an encouraging lap. In fact, the best lap of his race, the best lap of the race thus far, is the driver in second place, Caio Collet, picking up the pace, but with only a dozen seconds remaining, plus one further lap. Going to be quite a big ask. Victor Martins has looked very, very much in control. He was absolutely stern at the start of the race. He was not going to give up that pole position, just kept his nose in front by driving across towards the pit wall side to cut off the progress of Caio Collet, and since then has been driving metronomically, but he will have noticed the car that was getting smaller in his mirrors, that of Caio Collet, is now getting marginally larger. Sun getting a little lower in the sky, as you'd expect at the end of September. Not quite in the drivers' faces badly yet, but just enough as they head towards the end of the lap. When they're going down that infield straight, suddenly they get a face full of sunshine. And again, the first part of this lap, suddenly Caio Collet is finding his tyres are maybe in slightly better state than the race leader's tyres. He was 2.1 seconds down at the start of the lap. It looks like it's going to come down a little bit more. Let's have a look. 1.9 seconds, another 2.5 tenths of a second gain that time around by the chasing Caio Collet. The Brazilian's got his tail up. It's patriotic green wing mirrors. But if he's taking 0.2, quarter of a second out per lap, the clock is not going to be his friend. It's going to count away from him. 10.5 minutes plus one further lap to go. And I must say, suddenly the body language of the number 1 entry from Race GP, Caio Collet, is looking really, really positive. It's almost as though he's just thought about it and goes, well, hold on, I haven't got that long left, and I'm really, really picking up the pace. But then again, one of the lessons you learn in the junior single-seater formula is how to keep your tyres effective and sweet. And it looks as though his are in much friendlier condition, or maybe he's just adapting to the circumstances, feeling his way through this race. He knows it's half an hour plus a little bit, and making sure he's got good tyre life at this stage, because he's definitely hunting down the race leader, Victor Martin. Yet another fastest first sector of anyone. He gained 0.2 of a second nearly in the first sector alone. The middle sector, oh, he's given away 0.2 of a second. So what you gain in one hand, sometimes you lose with the other. First sector of the lap, it takes you down through the double apex at Tarzan, all the way behind the pits, through Gerlachbocht and then through Hugenholzbocht, and then you cross the imaginary line and then go on to the second sector of the lap. And their lap times last time around were in fact marginally in favour of our race leader, Victor Martin. And there's that gap back to David Vidales in third, and then fourth and fifth, Petro Potacek with Amaury Cordial still all over his tail. Thought that move might have been made by now. It hasn't. Cordial just be thinking, where can I make this move? The Belgian racer got up close but hasn't been able to strike since then. Can he make it into Kugenholzbach? No, he doesn't, but it's so unusual to have a corner where drivers can take two totally different lines through the twister. First to second, 1.992 seconds, come down very slightly. Again, the first sector of the lap goes the way of Caio Collet, but you don't want to be dealing in thousandths. If you want to make yourself get onto the tail of the race leader, you've got to be dealing in a quarter of a second and more per lap, because look, the clock continues to count down. In fact, I'd say you've got to be gaining 4/10 of a second a lap to get right onto the tail of the race leader, and then, of course, you've got to try plot a passing manoeuvre. So the clock is counting down rather too quickly for Caio Collet. And also for car 71, the driver thereof, Amaury Cordial, running out of time to make the move to go up into fourth overall. Just for your reference, the driver who stalled on the grid, who should have been starting from 5th position, Hadrian David, one of the rookie drivers, has set one of the fastest laps of the race. He's still stone last, nearly 5 seconds down on Laszlo Todd, but got it started from pit lane, caught up. And, you know, it's a case of what might have been. Lesson would have been learned, though. Mind you, that said, we have still drivers who get all the way to Formula 1 and still struggle to get the perfect start, but it's just what you can do with the machinery to hand. Of course, this season, Valtteri Bottas has had a few little poor getaways, but some much better ones recently. But anyhow, that's now. We're focusing on the Formula Renault Eurocup, and it's Victor Martin all the way. The chase has been good from Caio Collet, but he's now falling away. He got down to 1.9 and a bit seconds, and now it's 2.1 seconds. So it's swung the other way for Caio Collet, and the first part of that, well, he's gained another tenth and swing back a little bit. But the middle part of the Zandvoort circuit is where the race leader, Victor Martin, is so strong. And that includes that wonderful drop down through Scheiblack. In fact, if you get the middle sector right, it's the speed with which you've left the first sector on the exit of Kugenholzbach, because then any advantage you have there, you carry all the way through that second sector. But let's go down to the pits again. And let's hear the team, Paul Anthony, team boss of FA Racing, busy with Amaury Cordial in 5th overall.
Paul, Amaury's in 5th overall at the moment. We've seen him battling there for 4th, but just seems to be unable to make the pass.
Well, that's what happens when they're evenly matched. I think he's looking better at the end of the race. So he's pushing him quite hard, and it's going to be up to the other car to make a mistake.
It's all about putting the pressure on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's doing that. He's doing a good job.
Well, time will tell if we can get through. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Well, Paul Anthony, he has been around the single-seater paddocks for about 30 years. Anyone knows a lot about the sport, that's him. He can judge a good one. He can also just give the advice to any of these young drivers. And his driver there in car number 71, Amaury Cordial, fighting really hard, but just not finding any gaps in the armour of Petr Potacek to make a move. Zandvoort, we know, is a fabulous circuit to drive, but to get a passing manoeuvre, you've got to be bold, you've got to be committed. Sometimes you almost need a little bit of help from the driver you're trying to pass. None of these drivers want to throw away a good helping of points, so sometimes it's better to just maybe see the position than risk the two of you going off. But you've got to be bold, positive, and a lot of the moves actually start at Kugenholzbach, and it's whether you can pull it off by the time they get to the next proper braking point, which is the Masters curve, but so tricky to do so. First to second, it's still 2 and a bit seconds. Victor Martin, Caio Collet, bit of a twitch then. Car 72 getting the tail a little bit out of line. Sorry, that was car 12. That's Roman Stanek chasing after Timon van der Helm. Car 27, just a little bit further up the track. Hugo de Vilde held down 11th for so long. As it was, that's one position out of the points. The driver who now has moved ahead to be in that first position out of the points, the first of the non-scorers, is William Alatalo. He's hunting down, he's catching Gregoire Saucy, but 1.5 seconds in arrears. I don't know if he's going to manage it before the race is out. Good little battle there with Timon van der Helm now ahead of Richard de Gerus, and behind Richard is Roman Stanek. So there has been a change of position for the Dutch racer. Here's the replay. 21 is ahead at the moment, but Timon van der Helm close in behind. Was it a mistake, or was it just running? Well, there's high, and over, out and beyond, and that is exactly what happened. Perhaps just looking in his mirrors a shade too much going to the Hugenholzbocht. And for Rechad de Garouz, the young French racer, I'm afraid that's one position further down the order for him. But such a tricky corner. The clear intent for a lot of them is to get the best exit speed, but if you run too deep, suddenly it's all just going away from you. You see the tyre wall in front of you, and you've got to get your turn done. At that point, you lose whatever momentum you were trying to build in. Again, replay from another angle, you can see he just couldn't get the car turned into the corner, was sitting too high on the banking, had to just come off the power a tiny little bit, and Tiemann van der Helm, thank you very much, up, gaining a position. Now that's allowed number 12, Roman Stanek, in 15th position to close a little bit onto Rechad de Garouz, but I think if Rechad can gather himself together, he should be able to pull clear. Now it's been seesawing a little bit one way, and I really do mean a tiny little bit, and then swinging back the other way. Looks like a better lap from the chasing Caio Collet. Yes, he gets it under 2 seconds, 1.945 seconds in arrears now, so he was the one that gained, but Victor Martin gained on the 2 previous laps. We're dealing in tiny margins of time. These two well clear of the rest, nearly 12 seconds clear of David Vidales down in 3rd place. David, though, is the top rookie in the race. He'll be very, very pleased with that. You might as well gather points for every championship you can do, but he's got a 3.5 second advantage over that 4th place battle. Petr Potacek being fought so hard, pushed so hard by Amaury Cordeel, but Cordeel is holding his attack firm. But Petr Potacek is a very good driver in defence, and if he wasn't before, he is now. He's learned great lessons in this race. David Vidales grabbed 2 wins when he didn't appear at the first round, but he took both wins on his appearance. Now, suddenly, it's going to get very, very busy indeed. Now just looking, will the front runners catch the tail enders? But right now it's Victor Martin by Caio Collet, 1st and 2nd. The battle we look at there. Car 17 started from the pits. Don't forget he stalled. He started, would have been 5th on the grid. He's caught the tail of the field. This has been a real chase. Such a delayed start for him. Come on, let him have an overtaking manoeuvre to make him feel better. But the driver in front, Laszlo Toth, not inclined to leave a little chink. And then he just the next car up the line is Nicola Marin-Angeli. So the only car that can be caught and passed has been caught and passed. So the rookie, Adrien David, got his nose in front, but then he found himself on the outside line, and it's a very, very long outside line around turn number 10. But now he's got the toe going down that infield straight up towards Hans Ernst Bock. Looks as though he's done the move, but you never quite do it around the outside. He's on the outside now, but you cannot make that move stick because it wasn't being handed to him by Laszlo Toth. Bide your time, but look, there's not much time. 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. It's got to be this lap, the next one, or the one after. That's all we're going to have time for before we reach the end of this race. 30 minutes plus 1 further lap for the race leaders. But really, in terms of he doesn't want to be fighting over 18th and 17th and penultimate position with Laszlo Toth, but having started absolutely stone last from the pit lane, Adrien David deserves some applause. Is he going to hang it out around the outside? He's on the wrong side, but that suddenly becomes the right side when you get to Gerlach-Boch, which becomes the wrong side when you start to swing down towards Hugenholzboch. But robust driving there, and Adrien David at least pulls off one overtaking manoeuvre to make him just feel that tiny fraction better about his afternoon's performance. First or second, though, unless my eyes deceive me, is coming down. It's down to 1.5 seconds at the start of the lap, gone out to 1.6 midway around the lap, but certainly Caio Collet is closing right in, but then it looks like a really good run out of Kumo-Boch through the final corner for our race leader. It looks so what came in has now gone out again. And let's see the timing disadvantage, if you will, on the start-finish line. 1.513 seconds. Well, almost no change in that, but for Caio Collet, surely it's too little, too late for him. Victor Martin's controlled this race from the front. It seldom went above 2 seconds, seldom down below about 1.3 seconds between them. It's at 1.5 seconds at the moment. The gap between first, Victor Martin, and Caio Collet. And the best of the rest, the leading rookie driver, David Vidales, well, he's more than a dozen seconds back, nearly 14 seconds back in 3rd place overall. All on his own, nearly 3 seconds clear of Petr Potacek, but Potacek's busy. He's got Amaury Cordeel all over his tail. Well, one can see why these two are 1st and 2nd in the championship. It's only 2 points between them. It'll go out rather more than that because there's a 7-point margin victory. It should be 9 points the good for Victor Martin. Car 52 caught and passed by Hadrian David, so suddenly Nicola Marinangeli lost an awful lot of time, and so 2 overtaking manoeuvres in a lap for the driver who started from pit exit. So good job for Hadrian David, but it really is just a case of trying to recover a little bit of pride and some points for the Rookie Cup. He's running 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th, 8th in class, 7th now. He's gone past Marinangeli, so he'll get some points towards the rookie thing, but overall down in 16th place come the finish. Won't be any points towards the overall championship for him, but at least a little bit of pride restored. Car 21 been battling all race and just lost a position, unfortunately for him. Roman Stanek going past Reshad de Garus. But this, the final lap, belongs, like all the others in this Formula Renault's 50th season, to Victor Martin, French driver, leading by 1.4 seconds at the start of the lap from his Brazilian title rival, Caio Collet, who's pushed hard, kept him honest, but as they go around half a lap to go, it's Victor Martin running beautifully down into the dip through Cheblach. Breakers late, carry a bit of momentum if you can through the Masters Bocht, and then it tightens up for Bocht 9, the long right-hander that leads into the even longer left-hander at turn 10. But the good news for him, he's got that buffer of 1 and a bit seconds, about 1.5 seconds over Caio Collet. This is the final lap. He's got to stroke it home from here. And if he can complete this, the 21st lap across the finish line first, his last 5 races, including this one, would have a tally of win-win, third win-win. And that is the sort of championship run you require if you're going to take a title. Had a chance of last year's title, was beaten to it by Oscar Piastri, who's gone on to larger, greater, faster things, winning this year's FIA Formula 3 Championship in a fabulous shootout. But right now, the arm will go up any second now. Victor Martin, enough in hand to wave his car around the track, lose a little margin here or there. 1.453 seconds the good at the end of the race. Controlled it from the start. And the leading runner in the rookie class will come home 3rd overall. That's David Vidales. Good run for him, a lonely run for him after his very positive overtaking action, and that battle for 4th place just going the way of Petr Petacek from Amaury Cordil, and then very, very close for 6th place, very nearly a place on the line. Franco Colapinto just doing enough to hold off Paul Aron. Alex Quinn tucked in behind them, Lorenzo Colombo, and then Gregoire Saucy taking that final point for 10th place overall. So some great racing in and among that, but Victor Martin controlled it from start to finish. No wonder he's now winding it back, cruising back towards the finish, just to think, I have done the job that's required. That's 4 wins from the last 5 starts, and I've extended my championship lead. It was only 2 points. It is now out to 9. But Caio Collet, who chased him the whole way, is going to keep him honest right the way through the remainder of this championship. Well, some great racing in and among that, and for a lot of the drivers. Well, let's take a look at the table at the end of the race. It was Victor Martin, 1.4533 seconds, and that was at a 5.3 seconds. So a good margin in the end. Caio could chase, but he couldn't catch. David Vidales out on his own as the top rookie in 3rd overall. And he must have been quite relieved that Petr Petacek and Amaury Cordil fought so hard, because that meant there was no pressure from behind him and he could control the Rookie Cup run into 3rd place by the flag. And one of the stars of the race, in fact, was the driver who started last, Hadrian David. Should have started 5th, but he started from the pits, and a few more laps he'd have picked off even more people. He had his next one in his sight, was Reshad de Garus. Only moved up to 16th place, but you know, a good run from the back, setting some really quick laps. But Victor Martin, Caio Collet in a class of their own at the top of the field. And at the end, there we are. Hadrian David only got up to 16th place, but he was lapping well at the end. But really, it all belongs to the top 2. And for Caio Collet, he must be thinking, what do I need to do? Because that's 4 wins out of the last 5 races for the driver who's now pulling away from me. The start of the championship, pulling away from him at the start of the race. And very positive move over across the nose, the yellow nose of Caio Collet, to ensure that pole position remained as a race lead for Victor Martin. And the first 2, even as they left the second corner, the second part of the first corner, Tarzan, they were pulling clear. A little bit of rubbing is racing, they say, in certain quarters. Not always the case at Ugenholz, but anyhow, got it under control. And again, trying to go 2 by 2 around that tight left-hand hairpin, banked left-hand hairpin this time around. Made it tricky indeed. Even a few teammates swapping positions down in the middle order, kicking up the dirt, coming back on the circuit, but it was nose to tail for much of the field. The driver who was making progress was car 38. That was William Alatallo, who started down 18th and last position and worked his way up eventually to 11th overall. And another driver trying to gain positions and managing was Tiemann van der Helm, 13th overall. That was him picking off another rival. Very tricky to do at Hugenholz, but it was possible. But sweeping through to take the checkered flag, victory by nearly 1.5 seconds. Championship leader Victor Martin, second place Caio Collet, and delight for third place for the top rookie David Vidales. And so a good race there, but the top two, the rest must be looking and thinking, we have got to raise our game. They are well clear of the rest of us. So for ART Grand Prix and Victor Martin, the top prize to them. And as the cars come back in through the garages into the paddock, there's our race winner in 92. So David knows what it is to win, but he also knows what it is to be on the podium. This will be his 6th podium position from 8 starts. So he's having a cracking season as well, the young Spaniard. Effectively racing for 2 championship titles. He wants to win the rookie honours. He'd love to win the overall honours, but they may have to wait until next year, because Victor Martin and Caio Collet running supreme at the top. And there, Victor, very, very happy indeed with that win. It's not just good to win, it's good to start doing it on a really consistent basis, and a tap up the backside from the driver who very sportingly enjoyed that race, Caio Collet in second place. Is anybody else going to get up and challenge? But we have had other winners this year, including David Vidales, so it is possible. But here, thus far at Zandvoort, it really is about that top 2. So a lot of pride there. Job very, very well delivered by Victor Martin. Caio Collet right on his tail throughout the race, but just agonisingly, that odd second too far back. Did close the gap, it went out beyond 2 seconds, got to about 2.5 seconds, then it started coming down. But at the end, just under 1.5 seconds back to the number 1 from Race GP that finished in that second place. But the best of the rest was some distance behind the pair of them. Right from the outset, Victor Martin pressing on super hard. The car looking so well balanced at all times. Absolutely what you're looking for in a single seat racer. Diving deep into corners and then just getting that wonderful run through the banked final corner, the Arie Luijendijk curve. Controlling the race from the front, didn't get too concerned as Caio Collet started to close in and closed it out at the end to take win number 4 in the past 5 races. Suddenly, the driver who started the season with only a 10th place fumble is coming on really, really strong. Well, let's go down to hear from our top 3, starting with our winner. You know his name by now. So do I. It's Victor Martin.
Victor, 4 wins now this season, and that's exactly the performance you wanted. But that certainly wasn't an easy race. You had a lot of pressure from behind.
Yeah, exactly. I got a okay start, actually, not a perfect one, but I managed my race quite well. The pace was really strong. The team did a great job to give me the best car possible for qualifying this morning, and we take the win this afternoon. I just had to manage the race and keep the same gap during all the race.
Hoping for the same again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations once again. Thank you very much, Victor. Our second place man, Caio Collet there, Caio, second place, but certainly you were really trying to push Victor into making a mistake.
Yeah, for sure. I think we did a good start today, and I tried to put a lot of pressure in him the whole race, especially at the end. But like Magny-Cours, he didn't do any mistakes. But we need to work hard for tomorrow, find that extra 10th in qualifying, and start from pole.
And just finally, it's difficult here for overtaking?
Definitely, I think with the banking it helps a bit, but still quite tricky to overtake. You need to hope for a mistake, but the team did a really good job today with the car, and I'm quite happy overall, and we'll keep pushing for tomorrow.
Absolutely, well done for second place. Thank you very much, Caio. David, if we can call you through. A third placed David Vidales. David, no stranger to the podium at all this season. It's been a very strong season so far. Top placed rookie.
Yeah, again a podium, so it's a really good result for the championship. In turn 3 I managed to go around the outside and overtake Peter, so after they were faster, so this was the maximum today. I want to thank the team for the hard work, and just we'll see tomorrow.
Absolutely, the weekend isn't over yet.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.